We back on point. So anyway, lost my train of thought, but um, yeah. So Ben making content as well as helping the individuals out with whatever issues they might be going through. I don't see anything wrong with that. I feel like in the one video that Reckless Ben did, he did a recorded conversation between, I want to say that was Joshua that was on the phone. And even though it was for content and Ben wasn't saying anything disrespectful during those telephone call conversations, because I feel like that was him doing his due diligence and um, doing things in good faith. While, at first it seemed like, Josh and Brandon was going to give Brian's father's Lego sets back. And then they just gave him a runaround to the point to where I think Brandon and Josh underestimated the influence that Reckless Ben has in his reach and how he basically humiliated them for everybody to see. I mean, like, I would be upset too, but at the same token, I'm just like, I'm just going to keep going around back to it, which is before it even got to this point of being global news at this point, national news at this point, just give the man his damn Legos back. Just go in, get the Legos back. Reckless Ben and already embarrassed you. He already uncovered corruption to the highest level. The legal eagles of the world and lawyers have already broke it down to the point of, like, now both sides, kind of did it not in the right way. I will agree to that. But I ain't gonna lie, it was very funny and entertaining to see Reckless Ben just nonchalantly be like, so are you gonna give the Legos back? Like, when can we meet up? you know? And them giving them a run around and all this video evidence and then people allegedly hacking the police department in that area, showing the redacted police footage, which right now that police department is not looking well either. And I ain't gonna lie, Reckless Ben, you probably not even gonna see my video, bro, because I'm way smaller of a content creator than you are. But I would highly suggest, if ain't nobody told you, if you're not already doing it, bro, lawyer the fuck up. Lawyer up. Stop answering questions the detectives is trying to ask you without a lawyer present, because they are really trying to get you to say some shit or coerce you into saying something to make you look guilty. So if you're not already lawyered up, go ahead and lawyer yourself up. And if you do find yourself in a sticky situation where they are trying to ask you X, Y, and Z, just say, I request a lawyer, or I'm not answering any questions without a lawyer present. And because the reality is, if like all those different times where they called allegedly to have your car searched in GTA for heroin, and bomb scares allegedly, like, they're just trying to get you to say something just so they can have something to stick on you. Because right now their brand is hurting, and I ain't gonna lie to you. Not gonna lie to you. I know it's not every single store, but the simple fact that the main corporate store is allowing, individual people to use their name, like, that doesn't make sense to me of how the owner, Eamon, basically made a statement saying, oh, well, we just give them X, Y, and Z. We really don't have any control over it. Yeah, you do. Especially if anybody's using your brand, your likeness, you have some say to it. to a degree. You can't make me believe under any circumstances you don't have a say so. Because if that was the case, then the previous owner to the previous owner, you would have done your due diligence and gave that lady enough time to, one, look at the inventory, two, um print whatever tickets that it is that she needed so she could pay Brian, or to pay him the rest of his stuff off. Or even in that situation, that probably would have been the better bet, was to let the previous owner, before Josh and Brandon came in, just go ahead and let her give the Legos back, you know? But all of that was caught in 4K and video recorded or voice recorded. So it's just like, I don't see how that's going to fare well for y'all when y'all go to court.
Casing the way Bricks and Minifigs corporate, as well as how those individual franchisees conducted themselves, is also an extremely important thing as a PSA to the Lego community with who they might be doing business with. So I think no matter how you spin it, no matter how you look at this and peel back the layers of the onion, I think even if you didn't agree with all the things Ben did, which I do understand in a few instances, I think all of it did lead to something very important, which was trying to help someone that had been wronged by a corporation that refused to try and make things right without this public spectacle unfolding here. And also, unironically, Ben has made a sacrifice to, like, his personal freedom. He's went to jail twice for this and is now wrapped up in some very serious litigation. And all of that under the attempts to try and make things right for Brian. And like I said, again, even if you don't agree with all the ways he went about it, nothing would have been changing without Ben doing those things. Brian still wouldn't have been getting what he was owed, or Bricks and Minifigs and the franchisees would have still been just giving him the cold shoulder, treating him like dirt. So I think it has been a positive thing that Ben has gone to bat for. And now I think this latest decision is one that can be unanimously booed. To now silence the guy who has been talking about this and diving into it, I think is always just a completely inexcusable look. And here's the thing, even if Bricks and Minifigs does end up winning against Ben, this kind of decision here is just such an underhanded, shitty tactic, already on the back of them trying to take down his Patreon, his main source of income, that it is inexcusable and, in my opinion, pretty unforgivable. That is an irreparable blow to their reputation. Even if they do win, no one will be able to look at this company the same way again, and probably won't feel comfortable doing business with this corporation. That's what I think. And again, his investigation had...
I just realized I was muted that whole time. So real quick, I'm going to just say, I agree with Charlie. Bricks and Minifigs should have went on ahead and just did the right thing to begin with. Just either settled it out of court or have it, settled in court. But the damage to the reputation is done. I would highly suggest that if I was them, I would leave and disappear for a few months, few years, come back and rebrand, and make sure that you're hiring reputable people to represent your brand. Because, like, Bricks and Minifigs, like, the idea of the store to have, like, a place where you can, sell your collections, trade them, things of that nature, I don't think that's a bad business model. But the people that you have working at that brand is making your brand look really bad. Whether they are a part of whether they're a part of the stores themselves or it doesn't matter, because, like, at the end of the day, you're the corporate store. You gave them permission to use your brand likeness, business model systems for them to operate as a bricks and minifig store. So yeah, I think that's just really messed up that they got the store. I mean, got Brian's GoFundMe shut down. You know, when that was the whole sole purpose is, people that's older that's been collecting for eons. A lot of them, a lot of collectors, especially if you collect anything, we're looking to use that for investment, for, selling it, giving it to your grandkids. You might need that for their college tuition or rainy day. In this case, I think Brian's father's health is declining or had been declining. So God knows they probably might have needed that money and resources, to get him the things that he needs. And I just think that's really messed up for a big corporation to get that shut down. I understand gag ordering Reckless Ben. You're trying to get him to shut up. But it's too late because other bigger YouTubers is talking about it. Like Charlie here, Osmongold, um, Agent from AMP. I want to say Your Rage reacted to it. So everybody's talking about it. People that have bigger platforms than Reckless Ben, medium, and even small, even down to the small channels such as myself. It's too late. It's out there. They know. So, yeah.
Has spread beyond just bricks and minifigs, like it showed some very questionable, very, very shady shit from the American Fork Police Department, obviously. But it doesn't seem like the American Fork Police Department is the one that is now attempting to censor Ben here, under threat of throwing his life away if he continues to talk about them and show his investigation. That is Bricks and Minifigs, the mystery company, whom I believe to be Bricks and Minifigs based on what I think is pretty obvious evidence.
They sent court papers to my email, which I guess a judge approved for them that this was a valid form of service. And so now that I'm officially served, I cannot even mention this company or I will be in jail and everything. Normally I would be like, screw the big guy telling me what to do. I'm going to do what's morally right. But in this situation, if I do that, then all my friends get screwed with this lawsuit and we lose all the GoFundMe money we raised, like, immediately.
Completely understandable. I don't think there's a soul on this planet that blames him for that. There's really no other option than to comply with the demands of this lawsuit here, because if he doesn't, then everyone's getting face fucked. Not just Ben, anyone that was even attached to a single tendril to this case here, including the main victims here, Brian, they would then lose everything that was built up across this with the GoFundMe. So it makes sense why he is unfortunately having to make this decision to not continue talking about it and putting forth the evidence in part 3. I am very curious why they were able to serve him those papers through email as opposed to when Ben was apparently instructed that the only viable means was through amicable, service, trying to serve the papers himself. But I guess maybe there's a chance where...
And see, that's the same thing that I thought. Because, if you go to Reckless Ben's channel and you watch that whole, his part 1, part 2, the in-betweens, the arrests, he tried to do it that way too. And I don't think that is fair under any circumstances. Under any circumstances. So, like I said, I'm praying on y'all downfall. Unknown, unnameless company that Charlie's been talking about. Yeah, because Ben tried to do it the right way in terms of having a good faith conversation, or I would say Reckless Ben had plenty of good faith conversations, but because of the bibbity bobbity that was the managing store manager in the store being nasty, that young lady, that was a trip how they acted. to Josh to Brandon. All of that was just ugly. And then the police department is showing its ugly head. But yeah, Reckless Ben, lawyer up, bro. Get you a really good lawyer. I would be suing the heck out if I was you out of corporate. I would sue the police department for wrongful arrests, wrongful detainment, swatting, emotional damage, assault, all of that. Like, or should I say, or if you can't sue the police department itself, then definitely, I would say definitely make sure that you have the names of those officers who were not doing their jobs properly. Now, there was a couple in Reckless Ben's videos that did do their due diligence. I think there was like 1 or 2 officers that did their due diligence to look up to see if those court papers were official, which one cop he did. And then there was another cop when they were like setting up, I think, the GoFundMe sign on the lawn and having the overhang, like a big overhang. It was like that cop and the other cop. I'm not sure if that's the same cop or not, but that other cop was like, we can't arrest him for that. While the other police officers were trying to conspire to think of a way to get Reckless Ben and his friends arrested. But yeah, it's just dirty work, man. Like I said, if I were you, I'll be suing everybody. I'm suing corporate. I'm suing Josh. I'm suing Brandon. I'm suing, but I would make sure that I would have a lawyer doing all of that for sure. But I knew it was going to be a matter of time before Reckless Ben was going to get gag ordered. Like in big cases like that, lawsuits like that, it always happens. But we'll probably hear the aftermath of it once everything is settled. You know, come good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. But overall, Bricks and Minifigs' reputation is already tarnished, and I don't see them coming back from it. Now that I know about them, they will definitely not be getting any of my business since I have a son, but I ain't got to worry about that anyway because I go through the official Lego store.
Where a judge looked at this and said, like, oh, so Ben tried to serve them. They weren't receptive, so it's very likely that he wouldn't be receptive to Bricks and Minifigs trying to serve to Ben. So we'll grant you the motion to issue the service through email. But even in that case, I feel like that would have been easy for them to extend that same courtesy to Ben to serve through email, but I don't think they ever did based on everything that was shown in the previous videos. So that was a little confusing to me. And it's hard not to immediately think back on everything that was shown via the police body cam and what was said on those body cams and what we saw in some really, really, really questionable behavior from these officers. It's hard not to immediately think of maybe something a little deeper and perhaps a little bit corrupt. But that's where my head goes here because there are some very
A little bit corrupt. Charlie, you being very nice with this one. He's being very nice with it. A little bit corrupt. That is all the way corruption. All the way. Matter of fact, investigate that whole town. Investigate the whole town. Because it was given... What's that movie, y'all? Damn. It was given... what's that movie? The Village. What was it? It was like one of M. Night Shyamalan's movies. That's what it was given. And I'm like, what is going on with this town? That specific town, bro. Like, if I was traveling through that town, I would make sure look, if I'm tired or sleepy, I'm driving straight through that bitch. Because if y'all could do that to somebody that has a bigger platform, imagine, you know, people like Brian, smaller channels, getting hit with that type of level of corruption, allegedly, and the huge cover up behind it. That shit is crazy. Yeah, pack them up, get them up out of there. Investigate everybody.
very questionable things that have unfolded on camera in regards to how all of this has been handled in that space there, but that's all just allegedly. I'm not saying it 100% is the result of corruption why this was deemed a viable means of service. I'm just very surprised, is all, that Ben wasn't able to utilize email for serving the papers to the franchisees.
So I am no longer allowed to even mention this mystery company. My personal opinion is that this is unfair because this order was put on me because this company was telling the court that I was making bomb threats. I was planning on murdering the manager and employees, which obviously I didn't do, and you can see that in the footage. The only problem is I was not given a chance to share my side. The court just heard their perspective, not mine. So because I wasn't able to share my side, I am now no longer allowed to talk about them, and it looks like this might be it. So, yeah.
It's so fucking diabolical how they make these allegations that Ben was threatening them with bombs and violence and stuff like that. I'm going to go over there and kick their butts. I'm going to go in there and motorboat their cheeks and punch them up real bad and stuff. I'm going to beat them up. They're saying all these things, which then enables them to move this forward to gag him without ever even seeing Ben's side of it, apparently, according to Ben here. That doesn't make sense to me at all, how that happens. I don't know if that's standard procedure or what, but I know in the case of like stalkers, like streamers who have had stalkers, they will give the most unhinged DMs, like actual hard proof DMs, messages, actual threats, even stalkers showing up to their house. They will provide that, and still authorities never really move to do anything to the stalkers. So why are they moving so hard against Ben? Like, again, you can question some of his methods, and yes, some of it could teeter on like ballpark definitions of like stalking in regards to them trying to like serve them and stuff. But what's irrefutable is how lightly stalkers get taken so often with like actual dangerous psychopaths who are a threat to individuals' safety. They just get to walk away scot-free, willy-nilly, not taken seriously. But in this case, when it's a corporation that's alleging it, now all of a sudden the hammer's coming down. Here comes the giant fist. That's just fucked up. And they apparently didn't even hear out Ben's side, which apparently has supporting video evidence as well to the contrary, proving that he wasn't making those threats or saying those things or doing any of what was alleged. It's weird. It's weird. And the freaks at Bricks and Minifigs just don't seem to recognize that even if Ben can't talk about it, you know what's going to happen? Everyone else is going to talk about it. They truly just don't understand the Streisand effect at all. Genuinely at all. They've never even heard the term, I guess. That nomenclature, nothing. It's a fantasy to them. Like, it could have been so...
Look, all in all, Bricks and Minifigs, just give Brian his Legos back. The damage is already done. There's too many people that's talking about this now. Y'all already look like the bad guys. Reckless Ben, get a lawyer. Stay lawyered up. Don't speak without a lawyer. Hand over all the evidence that you have. Make sure you make backup copies to the backup copies to the backup copies, though. I would also, too, say, since the alleged police department that's in that area in which you had visited, if they are making threats around your life, I would also make a video as well as write in documentation saying, you know, my name is Ben Snyder. I'm sound mind of body. In no way am I thinking about harming myself or this, and that, and the third. And, you know, just do things that way. Make sure you got some good lawyers. Don't do or say anything without a lawyer. And then once everything is done and finished and it's public record, win, lose or draw, you know, let us know what the outcome is, Reckless Ben. But shout outs to Reckless Ben for doing his due diligence and trying to help this young man, older man, get his father's Lego collection back. Shout outs to Reckless Ben. Shout outs to Charlie for doing this video. And if you want to watch his video in full, he goes by Penguin Zero on YouTube. And it's called Bad News and the Lego Scandal. All right.